About 4 to 6 weeks ago, I started Zepbound, which is one of the newer GLP-1 medications, also known as tirzepatide, for weight and obesity management. And in this video, I'm going to share my impressions and results on how that first month has gone. This video is going to be broken into sections, first being the weight loss results, second being how I feel medicine has impacted me on a daily basis, third, going over any side effects I've experienced, fourth, the other habits that are important for lifestyle modification around weight loss, and then fifth, the conclusions. Is this something I'm going to continue doing? Why or why not? So let's get into it. Firstly, the results. I started this medication on 11/4 and I weighed 274.2 pounds. And then when I sort of tracked my weight 4 weeks later, I weighed 264.2 pounds on December 2nd. That's a weight loss of about 10 pounds or 4.5 kilograms. And through this time period, I was on the sort of starter dose of the medicine, which is 2.5 milligrams. And if you look at the studies, this dose is actually not the one that's been shown to be effective for weight loss. It's kind of the one that you use to get used to the medicine and see how it's going to impact you. And the ones that are actually more effective for weight loss are the 5, 10, 15 milligram doses. So essentially I was on the baby dose. I do have something interesting here for you. For open evidence in real world studies, like the one done by Buckley et al. In 2024, published in the Journal of Diabetes, the 2.5 to 5 milligram per week dose, people who were on that generally lost about 4.5 kilograms over 40 weeks. So I have been able to lose that amount in 4 weeks. So that like 10% of the time. So that's, I think, pretty amazing for results, especially if it's just supposed to be the baby dose. And I was able to get a pretty substantial amount of weight off. So having lost 10 pounds in the past month compared to my starting weight of 274.2 pounds, overall in 1 month, that represents a weight reduction of 3.64 pounds, which I think is a step in the right direction. Okay. Secondly, how has this medicine impacted me? The more that I'm thinking about it, I think it was partially the medicine and partially a placebo effect. Once you're doing something, taking a medicine, there is sometimes significant placebo effect that does drop in. And so I think it was a little bit of both here, because I definitely felt less food noise for sure. Like the second day after the injection, the food noise, the cravings and the hunger that I was experiencing was definitely decreased. But then towards the end of the week, when I was nearing the end of the week, ready for the second dose, I would feel that like food noise creep back up. I'd feel my hunger creep back up. I'd be like more snacky. So that's the piece that makes me think that I was actually experiencing the effects of the medication and not only placebo. But it's interesting. So I drew a little graph here and I'm going to show you. So essentially, let's get this situated. So if I took the injection, so the x-axis here is, I guess, food noise and hunger, and the y-axis here is days since injection. So if I took the injection day 1, I would see that my food noise and hunger would start to decrease, and it would get like, so it's nadir, it's lowest, like halfway through day 3, 4. And then slowly it would start to creep up again to the point where I felt, oh man, I'm ready for another dose. So that's something that I found really interesting. I remember the first week, after feeling really good all week and I was seeing my weight climb down on Sunday, I just had like a bunch of snacks next to me. And I was getting my hair braided, so I was just eating all these snacks. And the next day I was like up again and I was like, why did that happen? And I think it's because the medicine or the placebo had kind of like worn off and I was feeling very snacky and hungry at that time. So that's something interesting to note. But when I do feel like this is sort of like ramped up fully, I'm not snacking. I'm eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner and kind of leaving it at that. I used to always eat a snack or like a sweet treat after lunch. I've been able to like cut that out and kind of just focus on like food as my meal. I still do eat something sweet after dinner, but I think that's more of a habit than it is a real need to do it. So let's talk about the side effects. what I have noticed for real is some constipation. Everyone has a different like bowel movement pattern. This is not to get like too personal or gross, but it's to get real with you. For me, I experienced a little bit of constipation. I used to be able to just like sit on the toilet and do my business and then be done within like 90 seconds. And I have noticed that it has taken longer, to the point where like I have to strain or push a little bit, or be like, actually nothing's happening, even though I felt an urge, so I'm just gonna get up and like go about my day. So to combat that, I have recently started taking a magnesium oxide supplement, which can help with occasional constipation. Some people do get nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. For me, I didn't get any of those things. I just started to experience a little bit of constipation, not to the point where it's like bad, but to the point where I was like, I noticed that a little bit. I noticed a little slight change. So magnesium oxide supplement, totally safe to take for occasional constipation. So that's what I have been doing. I haven't been doing it every day. I kind of been doing when I think I need it. So that feels like an okay trade-off so far. So we'll just see how it goes. The other thing I was worried about was hair loss. It's not super common, but I think like 5% of women have reported hair thinning with this medication. And I honestly can't assess that right now, because immediately after I started this medication, I got my hair in braids. So when I take them out, I won't know if it's because of medicine or because of the braids. So I guess I did not really employ the best scientific method in tracking that. But I think that's okay for now. I'm not super worried about it, but it is something that's kind of like on the back of my mind. Ooh, the other thing I will say is that I think I was drinking less water, because maybe I was feeling more full. Before, when I would feel this intense hunger, I know that one of the things that helps with that is stretching your stomach and filling it with water. And so I remember just chugging water a lot. Now I feel like I'm not drinking enough water, because sometimes you'll be able to tell by like the consistency and the color of your urine. And a couple times during the day, I'm like, oh wow, like I actually need to drink more water. And I think that's also important, linked to some of the other side effects that you can't see. You should get labs done periodically when you're on this medicine, because it can cause an acute kidney injury. And I think that's more so linked to people who have severe nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. When you're losing your fluid through those mechanisms, your kidneys don't have enough blood to filter and they kind of get stressed. So I won't know if that's happened to me. I feel fine. You can't really feel an acute kidney injury, but I do have follow-up labs set up with my provider at the 3-month mark, so I'll be able to see whether or not those things are impacting me. And I'm just going to try to be cognizant to drink more water, so that I'm able to stay well hydrated and at a normal volume size, so that that sort of things does not happen. But I can't tell you whether or not it's happened, because I haven't gotten the labs yet. Okay, talking about other habits now. Other habits that will help support weight management. I think everyone understands generally that you need the nutrition, you need the physical activity, and then sort of this medication piece can help with some of the things that make it really hard to just like live in this world, whether it be your increased sensation of hunger because you've got extra adipose tissue and the hormones around that, just being in this food environment where food is like readily available and sort of always sort of in your face. But you can't do one without the other. This is supposed to be an adjunct, meaning it's supposed to be added to the other like lifestyle changes. And even for people who get bariatric surgery, I know this because I heard a surgeon say this to a patient today. He was like, this is not a silver bullet. You still need to eat the right foods. You still need to exercise. And the people who do really well with bariatric surgery, per what the surgeon was saying, was that they are making sure their nutrition's on top. They're making sure that they're exercising 4 to 5 times a week, getting really sweaty. So you need all the other things, is what I'm trying to say. I don't like the way he put this, but he was like, you've dug yourself into a hole by being heavy, and the surgery can help get you out of that hole, but then you can still dig yourself another hole with not doing the habits. So for me, I'm like, well, you've got to do that stuff anyways. You might as well just like try to get those habits in place. And they do make people sort of show that they can do this stuff, which is just wild to me. Anyways, that was a tangent. What I'm trying to tell you is how my exercise and nutrition have been. I will say before this month, I was not really exercising. I have a very stressful job. I'm a family medicine resident physician, and so I'm all over the place. I have no consistent schedule. I just like really was just letting the job take me where it needed to, and I wasn't fighting for any like self-care time, and so I wasn't doing all the things I know I needed to do. But I was really trying this month to be like, even if I just exercise for like 5 to 10 minutes in the morning where I know I'm gonna get it done, that will be a success. So I think what I'm gonna do is just like track how many workouts per month. So in the month of November, which kind of encapsulates that sort of first 4 weeks for me, I did 25 total workouts for a total of 9 hours and 47 minutes, which averaged about to 23 minutes per workout. The calories were like 168 calories per workout, and overall 4,224 calories burned. And obviously that's not probably completely accurate, but I think for like tracking purposes and just seeing a pattern of increase or decrease, I think it's gonna be fine. So for me, that was about 3 to 5 workouts per week. And sometimes, like I was saying, there were only like 10 to 15 minutes. If I had to be at the hospital at 6:30 and I got up at 5, I was like, I can do 10 minutes, and 10 minutes is better than no minutes. So I was just going with that mentality, and I think it really helped. And in terms of nutrition, I have not been tracking my food. Sometimes I find it very helpful. Sometimes I find it very stressful. And when I'm more busy, finding the time to stop and write it down can sometimes just be more annoying than helpful. So right now I felt like it wasn't super helpful, so I didn't do it. But the way I would sort of keep track of it was I'd weigh myself every morning, and then if it sort of went up from the day before, I would think, okay, what did I eat yesterday? And kind of do the 24-hour recall, and then try to tweak it a little bit for this day. And I think that I know myself and my body, and like if I have more carb heavy, richer meal at night, I tend to be up the next day. So I have been trying to think of how to flip that and not rely on dinner as the biggest meal, but trying to push more of that nutrition into earlier into the day so that I can just sleep at night. So that's still something I'm working on. And maybe I'll think about like tracking my food more diligently. I just have not had the time or energy or will. But I think it can be helpful as like a stop mechanism. If you're not using any sort of like pharmacotherapy or surgery, and you're just trying to do this sort of like unmedicated and focusing on like behavior modification, tracking I think is awesome because it gives you an opportunity to stop and think, and like it makes you have to make yourself stop and think about it, because some of these habits are so ingrained that you're just going to reach for whatever it is without thinking about it until it's too late. So if you can stop yourself before you get there, I think that's awesome. And I think that tracking is a way to do that, but it's not what I'm doing right now. But hopefully I'll bring it back. I've just been trying to be more mindful. Like I know I can make improvements. I know that if I don't eat in front of the TV, that's a way to be more mindful with eating. I know if I like take a break from work and like get away from the computer and like sit down and eat my meal, that's a way of being more mindful with eating. You notice yourself being more full, and you notice what you like about your meals, what you don't like, and you can sort of like hone into like the whole experience of eating, which I think that we're just numb to it. But if we wake up to it, I think it's actually really helpful for weight management. But it's actually really hard to do. So I'm not doing it now, but maybe in the future I'll bring it back. Okay, another tangent there. Sorry. Okay, overall conclusions about this medication. I honestly think that it was both Harper. I think that it was both me and the habits that I was trying to employ. I think both of them together helped make this 10-pound weight loss. And it was a good rate, like 2.5 pounds per week is a good rate. I really worry about losing weight too quickly, although I love to be like skinny and snatched. Like I really worry about excess skin and any sort of surgery that might be necessary to take that off. And so I'm hoping that my body will just take everything back in, but I don't know. And so I think one of the things that makes me happy about a slower rate of weight loss is that hopefully things will have time to like do all the physiological things they need to do to like come back, you know what I mean? Take that tissue back in. And the other thing is like rapid weight loss. If you do that, you can get gallstones, you can get biliary colic, you could, in fact, I saw a patient this week who had bariatric surgery and then was having right upper quadrant pain after meals, which is very classic of gallstone disease, and now needs their gallbladder out because they lost weight so quickly. So slow and steady wins the race. It can be frustrating because we kind of want results now, but I think that going slower is fine. The problem is to make sure that it is actually progress and not just like stagnation, because this is fine. Like this is fine. But you want it to go like this rather than like this or like this, if that makes sense. Like you want it to go somewhere. And so I think in the past I've had a lot of stagnation. I've had a lot of ups and downs and regains and weight losses, and wanting to get down below a place you've been before so that you know you're actually making progress with something that takes a lot of time is really hard. So I think that tracking it monthly like this in this type of video, if it's not interesting to you, it's at least going to be helpful to me and myself. So that's good. I'm implementing the exercise. I've got some room to go on the nutrition. I think the medicine has been helpful. Do I bump it up? Do I go to the next dose, which is 5 milligrams a week? I actually have. I'm talking about the first 4 weeks in this video, but this is actually like week 6 for me, and I recently just bumped it up to from the 2.5 to the 5 milligrams. And the reason I did that is because I had felt myself plateauing weight on week 6, where I'm kind of just maintaining my weight, and so both trying to bump up my exercise, trying to be more intense with my exercise, trying to do more exercise. So instead of 10 to 15 minutes, doing like 15 to 20. And I think also getting a little bit more of the medicine to that effective weight loss dose will be helpful to get me there for the other benefits, like the reducing the food noise and reducing that sort of like hunger sensation. I have another fact for you here. So the SURPASS-5 trial, it talks about sort of the rate of discontinuation that people have on every dose of medicine due to the side effects. So for people who were taking 5 milligrams of this medicine, 10% stopped taking it because either increased nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea. People who were taking 10 milligrams, 12% decreased it because of those side effects. People taking 15 milligrams, 18% of those people discontinued it because of those side effects. So that is why I think they do try to titrate you up slowly. And typically it takes like 12 to 24 weeks to get to someone's effective dose. Because with anything in medicine, where you're taking a medicine or you're doing a procedure, you want to make sure that the benefits outweigh the risks or the side effects. And so it's really personal. Some things impact different people different ways. And for me, I feel like for the benefit I've gotten and the side effects that I have, which feel minor, I'm willing to bump it up from 2.5 to 5. So here we are. It's the first week at 5. I'll let you know how it goes. All right, I think that's all I wanted to share about my first month on Zepbound. I am someone who have found YouTube really helpful in finding people who I think represent where I am at my life and sort of seeing how they've been successful or things that they've struggled with and been able to find community and like solidarity in those things. So I really want to make this channel something similar. And I've lost a lot of like, I lost 80 pounds in the year video. People just like recount their habits. They don't really like show you how they did them. You know, it's not like you just woke up one day and were able to get all those things together. So I'm hoping that showing you from the beginning of the journey, hopefully to the future where I'm able to say, yes, I've achieved all of these weight management goals, will be something that'll be interesting to people. And especially because I am a doctor, I'm a primary care doctor, and I'm telling people to take care of themselves, and I feel like I haven't been able to do that for myself. And so to share that it is harder to do than one might think. So how do we make time for ourselves and make time for the things that every day maybe aren't that exciting, but will ultimately get you to a place where you're able to say, yeah, like I lost a significant amount of weight, I reduced my risk for diabetes, you know, hypertension, heart disease, cancer. That's really the ultimate goal of why I'm doing this. It's hard though, it is hard. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, stay tuned on the journey, and thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.